Hello, everyone, and welcome to a very special episode of the Way of the Muse podcast. We just hosted an incredible masterclass this week, Gigi and I together, and it was a masterclass and a panel discussion. We brought on three unstoppable women to share their stories and really what helped them make that shift from, being stuck in whatever challenges they were facing not that long ago and struggling to really go for their bigger dreams to what had them really make the shift and take the leap and create incredible results in their businesses and in their lives. So we decided, why not share this podcast episode with you, share this masterclass with you rather, as a podcast episode. And so that's what this is today. It's a longer episode than we normally do, but you're going to get so much out of it. So buckle up and enjoy. And if you have any questions, as always, you can write into us at support@wayofthemuse.com. And we have a workbook that we talk about in the episode, so in this masterclass. So that workbook will be linked in the show notes so that all of you can get a copy of it. It's a beautiful multi-page workbook that's fillable. You can either print it or you can download it and fill it out on your computer. Just make sure if you download it that you actually save it to your computer and then save it as you go. Otherwise it won't, save what you write in there. And then if you prefer to watch this rather than listen, like if you want to see the women sharing their stories and see Gigi and I really sharing this information, then you can visit our YouTube channel. And all of those links to our podcast episodes on YouTube are at wayofthemuse.com/podcast. And you can watch it there. So always an option to watch this as a video, or you can just listen in and you'll definitely get the value whether or not you download the workbook. It's just a fun way to, it's really interactive. We want you to follow along and answer the questions and really reflect as you go through. That's how you're going to get the biggest value out of this and really have you step into the unstoppable version of you in the year to come. So can't wait to hear what you take away from it. And I'll see you in the episode.
Welcome to The Way of the Muse, a podcast for women who want to create richness in every area of their lives, from business and career to lifestyle, relationships, family, purpose, and fulfillment. I'm Gigi Sage.
And I'm Makena Sage. We're a mother-daughter coaching team, and combined, we've spent over 4 decades helping people create their best and most fully expressed lives. If you're ready to step into your bigger dreams with ease, fun, and flow, you're in the right place. Let's get into the episode.
Let's dive right in. So Gigi, you want to tell us a little bit about what this masterclass is all about?
Yeah, so we are going to focus on your deeper desires today in all areas. And so you can fully step into those and leap into your unstoppable self. And we're also going to have a panel experience today, which will be really fun. We'll be talking to some great ladies and they can share some of their experiences.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to help you identify any patterns or blind spots that have held you back so that you can have a breakthrough, whatever the breakthrough is that you want. Whatever is sort of stopping you, slowing you down from getting there, we're going to support you around that today and really seeing what that is and how to move through it.
Yeah, and then we're going to give you some tools to unlock your magnetism. And this is so you can be that magnet for people. You can have opportunities come to you, more financial abundance and success as you're calling in your 2025. And that's, something we really want to look at today, or what are those things that you want for next year and getting clarity on those.
Yeah, let's get to some of you as we're talking. Share one thing you're calling in for next year. Just whatever that might be, a vision, a goal. We'll go deeper here in a minute, but fun to get some of those going. Then you're going to be inspired by powerful women, like Gigi said, on our panel who have risen through major challenges to become truly unstoppable.
Yeah, and I just want to say about that, we're bringing on some of our beautiful clients that we adore, and they're going to share with you, really, they're rock stars, man. They're going for it. And you're going to also get the opportunity today to experience an unstoppable woman activation, where you step into that version of the you that makes all your dreams come true. And I just want to say, if any of you have witnessed Makena's, sometimes her meditations or these kind of activations, she is brilliant. Many times women have these aha moments, they see visions, they see their next thing through these short meditations that she takes you through.
Yeah, I'm excited to lead that for you. So a little bit about the structure. We're going to start with some teaching and content. This will be highly interactive. So again, get out that workbook and have that ready, or a journal to take notes. Then we'll have the panel discussion. Then we'll close kind of with the activation and a live Q&A. So that's the structure for today.
Mm-hmm.
So we're not going to spend a lot of time introducing ourselves because most of you have some idea who we are, and we want to get right into the content that we have for you today. But Gigi, why don't you give everyone a quick overview of who we are?
Yeah, so we're a mother-daughter coaching duo, and with the combined experience, we have 45 years, a lot of experience. I've been coaching 38 years, and Makena has been coaching on and off her whole life. I think, Makena, your certification in my coaching—
I was 12 when I got certified.
So she's been in there with me through my whole career, basically, until when she was born, right? And she made this a full-time career in 2018. And we are on a mission to help women everywhere. I've been doing it for 38 years and not stopping. And we're going to assist you. And this is what we do for women, is really to become the woman you're meant to be. And I think this is so important to tap into this, what you're meant to share in the world, and to really step into it. We need women unstoppable these days. We need women to come together, to collaborate, and to really, really grow what we want to grow so we can do good in the world. And then also confidently create your biggest dreams. That's something that we assist women with. And confidence is a key factor, because we do find that, sometimes that is what holds women back. And then grow your income with ease and flow. And that is something too that is a little bit of signature to the work with us. Is I have really assisted women over the years to do that, and also Makena enormously, in terms of really going after your dreams and all your financial goals and the things you want to do, but stepping back and really taking that from a place of feeling an ease and flow. It doesn't mean you don't stop going for it, but you have a different place that you're coming from. And then we create a life that's rich in all areas, because let's face it, women want it all, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. And we're the hosts of the Way of the Muse podcast. So if any of you haven't checked that out, then you can find that on all your favorite podcast platforms: YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, etc. Let's just read a couple of these responses. So we have calling in the life I dream of. Beautiful. Mm-hmm. Calling in more flow. Calling in excelling in year one graduate studies, a life partner, and the start of successful successful startup coaching / spiritual offering.
Awesome.
Calling in becoming a mother. Beautiful.
Oh, nice.
Love that.
Nice. Awesome.
Yeah. So when you step into your unstoppable self, what's this first kind of section is getting clear on what you want. So this is one of the first sections in your workbook as well, getting really clear on what you want. And so when you step into your unstoppable self, so what does it mean to be an unstoppable woman? To us, this means walking with your chin up and your shoulders back, knowing exactly what you want and going for it unapologetically, and standing in your unique power, and then radiating that energy out into the world. And what Gigi said about confidence is so true, but it's funny because a lot of the women we work with, they're very confident in some areas. Can anybody relate to feeling very confident in some areas, but then in other areas you might feel that self-doubt, right? Like, oh, I'm really confident in this one area of my life, but then when it comes to this other thing I want to do, I'm like, oh, I don't know, right? That self-doubt comes up. Yeah, so being unstoppable is like, I'm going to go for it anyway, right? Mm-hmm. And like Gigi said, being truly magnetic for everything you desire in life. And we've all seen these people, or maybe you've even been this at some point in your life. Yeah? Are you going to say something about that, Gigi?
Yeah, I just think that we've all probably experienced those moments in life. And if you reflect back to them, what was going on? What are those times where you felt— usually we feel magnetic when we feel more like ourselves. And that's, again, it gets down to really stepping into what you're meant to do because it feels like you're in alignment.
Yeah. So whether you think back on a time when you really felt magnetic,
Mhm.
or maybe you've seen someone like a woman that you're like, wow, she's just so in her power. She's so magnetic. And you can see these opportunities, these different things are coming to her. Then that's what we're talking about here is how do you tap into that magnetism? Who wants more of that for 2025? Hopefully that's why you're all here. So what this means is going to be 100% unique to each one of you. So no two people on this call right now or watching the replay, it's going to have the same answer to what being an unstoppable woman is for you. So it's important to get clear on what do you want. So coming back around to this question of when you are an unstoppable woman, how will your life be different? So I'm going to read through the question here, and you guys pull up your workbook or pull up your printout and just stream of consciousness, jot some things down, some bullet points. So this could be how will you feel different day to day? What will your experience of life be? How will that be different? And how will it be the same? Maybe some things won't change.
Mhm.
When you're an unstoppable woman, how much money will you be making? So again, what will change and what will stay the same? So we're really defining here, what is this for you? Everybody is different.
And it's so important to take this time and really reflect because, often we just keep going, going, going. We just did a podcast on this and we don't take the time. And then we get into our next year and we're like, wait, what? What was I going to do? So really take this moment as much as possible and just throw everything that comes to your mind down on paper.
Yeah, really dig deep. What are you longing for? So the feeling, the money, the impact, experience. For this one, let's get a few shares. Just share one or two things from what you're writing down. When you are your unstoppable self, when you step into being that truly unstoppable woman, how will your life be different? Always present, rarely distracted, and more energized. Beautiful. Energetic, sexy, fascinating, and interesting. Traveling more and more patient.
Mm.
Nice.
Let's get a couple more and then we'll go into being a little bit more specific here.
I will be at ease, rested, and ready to act on purpose. Confident, more fun, and easeful. Yeah, notice that a lot of you start with the feelings first. That's interesting to notice, right?
Wow.
Feeling unstoppable for you equals some of these other feelings you're talking about here. Working with ease and flow, great money flow, and successful coaching business. Nice.
Yeah. And that's great to know because again, that's where you come from, right? That's the space you come from. Now, the next thing we want to do is we want to narrow this down to looking specifically at your year ahead. And when you spend the next year as your unstoppable self, what do you see having done or accomplished by the end of the year of 2025? And what I'd like for you to do is if you can narrow this down to 3 goals, okay? Because in a few minutes, I'm going to share with you how I made my first million, and it's probably something very different for you. Maybe you want to be on the front of a certain magazine or sell a specific number of your products, or you want to speak in front
Start the business you've always been dreaming of.
or the business you've always been dreaming of, or speak in front of a certain number of people. Or start that business you've been dreaming of, or really increase the number of your business or have new products or services. So what happens here is your goals need to be able to pass the yes, no litmus test, which means that if we ask you at the end of the year, hey, did you reach, this particular goal? You can definitely say a yes or a no. So go ahead, if you can, share 3 unstoppable goals and make these more like yes, no, like very specific.
Yeah, so we've got here traveling to my clients and to the sea, living with my love, Andrea, making 400,000 next year, being fit and strong. So
Awesome.
those are great. Those are super clear and all of those we could ask you at the end of next year, right? Did you travel to the sea? Did you make the 400,000? And you could tell us yes or no. So those are great. I see here, I will be fully booked as a freelance art photographer and AI expert. So important to know what is fully booked for you. And maybe you already know that, but that's one way to be clear there is that a certain amount of money? Is that a certain number of clients? How will you know you've been fully booked at the end of next year? I want to work together with Henrika on her business and support her. Great. I want to have a fully booked schedules. That might be a language thing. So in terms of what that means for you, but that's great.
Yeah.
Who else? Bettina? Go ahead.
Let's say pretty clear on my goals for next year, because I want really to establish or to stabilize my beach home living between Mallorca and Denmark, my heart places, and also raise my business to making 90,000 revenue and also working with clients one-on-one here at the beach home. This is new, and and I want to, they're starting now, making a keynote with my firm, which is a long, also paid, it's a long dream, and bringing my Feng Shui, I'm also a Feng Shui expert, and bringing this together in really in visibility, because at the moment the coaching is not visible. So I want to launch a website.
Okay.
So, and yeah.
Nice.
Awesome.
Great. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah,
so it's like, I call it flow coaching, and this is underneath. So it's a new concept. So yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, absolutely. Who else? Who else wants to share? Monique, how about you? I'm going to call on people that I know. Pick on you. Okay, here we go. Yeah, would you share yours with us?
Sure. Okay. So I have two sets. Still kind of playing with the third. The first would be a down payment on a family home.
Awesome.
And the second is a family vacation to multiple cruise destination will be booked and paid for.
Love it. Yeah.
Amazing. Love it. Do you know your income goal that will create those possibilities? What will make that happen?
I had set an income goal, yes. It is very audacious and I'm okay with it. At 150,000.
150,000. Beautiful. Amazing. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. Aubriana said she would share. You want to bring her up?
Okay.
Hello.
Hi. Great to see you.
Okay, so probably my biggest one, I'm working on developing a software program right now. And so having the pilot program completely built out and then launch that to senior management here at the hospital. And then if they love it, then they will provide me with the team and the financial resources to get this off the ground.
Oh, okay.
Love that.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So I want to work more on like the innovative development side in healthcare.
Okay.
Nice. And do you have maybe one personal goal you want to share?
I was thinking about that, but I guess it would have to be something that I'm in control of, because getting married isn't really all the way in my control. So,
forcing him to.
I mean, it does pass the yes/no test, so
yes. Okay,
it could
so
still be
I'll
a goal.
Proposal.
It could be
How
a
about
vision.
that? Yes.
Okay, perfect.
A proposal. Okay.
Love it.
Thank you.
Excellent.
All right, ladies. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you.
So in a little while, I'm going to share my story on how I created my first $1 million year, which was one of my first like really big unstoppable goals early on in my career. But first, what we're going to do is we're going to do a little bit more teaching, because it's important you understand the context of it, right? So, and again, the grid that I'm going to share is how I did things, so you can kind of reflect through that to see when you're looking at your goals, what you could do.
Yeah. So we're going to start by looking at the biggest patterns and blind spots that we see that may be stopping you or slowing you down significantly from achieving your bigger dreams. And so for some of you, this is like, I feel kind of stuck around this. And for some of you, it's like things are moving forward. They're just not maybe moving forward as much as you would like, right? Okay. So yeah, either way, the patterns and the blind spots are really, really good to see. So we have kind of a fill in the blank in your workbooks to keep this fun and engaging for you. So take a look at those as we're going. So being stuck in the weeds of your career or business is the first pattern that we see, being stuck in the weeds of your career or business. So this is when you are caught up in the day-to-day. And this might be in your life too, maybe not just in your career, but you're just like, I'm busy, 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 you know, going, caught up in the day to day. And you feel like you don't have the time or the space to really zoom out and see the bigger picture. And this could be, you know, where you really want to go. Some of you might not, other than this masterclass, have really taken the time to look super deeply, or maybe you have taken some time and the vision just hasn't become super clear. And then also, how do you get there? How do you make those dreams come true? So sometimes that can be difficult to do on your own, which is why it's great to come to something like this or to get support. But being stuck in the weeds is really about you're in kind of the doing in the day to day. And maybe too, it's that you don't have systems in place to delegate. Maybe you don't have support or team systems in your life, whether that's personally or in your business, to really free you up and get you into your zone of genius. And I'm going to share more about a little bit about my story in a minute. And I had a lot of these patterns for a long time. Gigi will tell you it was painful.
Well, we've all had them. I had them early in my development too. So
yeah, I was the person who just did everything myself, and I was constantly busy and constantly overwhelmed and worked. And it took a long time. And through Gigi's support and guidance and starting to set up those systems and starting to get support hugely, where I've been able to go more and more and more into my zone of genius and really what I love to do, and also where I'm the most effective and I get the most results. And we see that a lot of the times. I think you'll hear that in some of the women's stories today as well. So Rebecca says, I focus on the work, but I need to set up the systems. Right on. Our first aha. Love it. Bettina, I know what I want, but time is running every day, that everything gets slower than planned. Yeah. I take on a lot, but don't accomplish nearly as much as I want. Yeah. So that's number one. Number two is the stress loop. So you can fill that in on your worksheet, the stress loop. These two are related, but they're a little different. Sometimes some of you may have one of these and not the other. Some of you may relate to both. So the stress loop is where you're reacting instead of proactively planning. Okay, reacting instead of proactively planning. So sometimes this is because you're under financial stress, right? You're like, I just need to make sure I'm bringing in enough money, or maybe there's stress in your relationship or your household, or really any and all kinds of stress. It's just like, again, can come from busyness, but it can also come from, just sort of this reactionary mode. So when you're caught in the stress loop, you're often just so tired and overwhelmed that you are in that constant reaction mode. It feels like you're barely keeping your head above water. It's a little bit different than being stuck in the weeds, which is like you're in the details and you're in all of that. This is like, I'm just kind of trying to keep above everything. And in that, I'm not really able to zoom out and really be proactive. So a lot of times with this one, you feel busy all the time, but it feels like you never really get ahead. And you may want to grow, but you're too tired to even think about what you want, or maybe you know what you want, but you can't imagine finding the time or energy to make it happen. So again, with our panelists today, they'll share, I think different ones of them had different ones of these patterns. What were you going to say?
Yeah, and also these patterns are addictive. You know, once we get into them, they're like a spiral. It's hard to know how to get out of them.
Absolutely. The third one is self-doubt. And we touched on this a little bit, that we see this even with very successful women. So they're super confident in some areas, but then when it comes to usually their bigger dreams, that's when self-doubt creeps in. So everybody think for a moment about what's a bigger dream you have, something that you would love to, you all wrote something down, right, on your goals for next year, a bigger dream or a bigger goal. And in that, when you think about stretching yourself, does any form of self-doubt come in? And that could be things like, well, what if it doesn't work? What if I'm not good enough at this, right? Or what makes what I have to share or what I want to contribute any different? This can even just be like the what if I fail, right? And you might notice this show up in different ways. It might come up as these thoughts, or it might come up as procrastination or different things where it's like, oh, you don't really want to go there because that self-doubt is there.
Yeah. So the next one is the under-earning cycle, and that's the undercharging. And I'm sure some of you can relate to that. Yeah. Or this is focusing too much time and energy on low income generating activities. I just talked to a client about this yesterday. She has herself spread so thin by doing so many different things. And when we really start to map it out, she really sees how much she's making. If she went down to an hour is low because she has just keeps on taking on all these different things. This gets you stuck in a cycle of being tired and undersourced. And so what happens is you never feel like you can free up enough time or energy to make that big dream, that leap into the dream that you're wanting to make. And this one we see often. I mean, we see all of these often, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will say about this one that it could be undercharging if you're in business for yourself. It could be, I remember years ago a client that came to me and she was working 3 different side jobs, right? 3 different jobs, working, and she was barely kind of making ends meet, right? And we looked really strategically and within a few months she'd quadrupled her income, right? Because it was a shift in mindset and really going out and charging what she was worth and approaching things a little differently. The top 5 patterns. So in that, it could be any manner of things that keep you under earning, because when you're under earning, like Gigi said, you're under resourced, meaning you don't have the energy and the time and everything else to really move those dreams forward.
And then the last one is the someday syndrome. And that is the one, I'll get to that when the kids are out of school, work frees up, in a couple months or 6 months or whatever. I'm clear about what I want to do. And this we see, this I've experienced in my career so much. And this one shows up too when I talk to women or even men sometimes, and they have this someday syndrome. I'll talk to them and then I'll speak with them 2 years later. They're still in the same place. They haven't shifted this. And I think this one is so important, where it's great to get support in this one, because finally taking that risk and going for something and having support is huge in this area. But if that's yours, it's really to have some kind of accountability finally to get out of that. Yeah.
Yeah, and this is a tricky one, I would say, because a lot of people have it and most people will say that they don't have it.
Right, that's true.
So if you catch yourself immediately go, oh, that's not me.
Yeah.
It may not be, it's not true for all of you, but take a look and see, right? Are there things that you've been going, oh yeah, I'm going to do that at this point, right? Or when this happens, I'm going to do that. And just, nobody here is going to know. You can tune in with yourself on that, but it's really important to really address that. And what we always say is get clear on whether you're going to go for it or not. If you're not going to do it, then don't beat yourself up about it, right? And just be okay with that and say, okay, now's not the time, or I'm really not committed, or for whatever reason, it just doesn't feel right. And then take it off your plate. But what we're talking about here is those of you who are in the someday syndrome, but you really do want to move that thing forward, then that's where you really want to check yourself and go, how long have I been saying that, right? And you always say, Gigi, the stars don't ever perfectly align.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So which one of these 5 patterns shows up for you?
What out of these patterns do you relate to? What shows up for you?
Okay. All of them. Oh, goodness, Mindy. If that's true, Mindy, see the one that is the biggest one right now, and that's the one you go for first.
Yeah. Mindy, would you be open to sharing?
Yeah, I mean, I think they're all super relatable. I mean, I think I'm just so early on. Like, I think the last one is super resonant, the Sunday syndrome. For the last 2 years, I've been back and forth on going back to school for graduate studies, completely changing course of, I've been doing advertising sales, and this is sort of, the way I've figured out how to survive and, make money, to completely shifting. And how do you go into literally an opposite career of finding clients and just what that even going back to school, all of it just feels pretty wild, but I just finally did it. So I'm okay, well, I did that, but as part of that, there's other things that I've been interested in doing, and starting a little kind of coaching integration business. And that's been something I've thought about for years and years and years. And so, I've taken little steps, buying the domain name, but haven't necessarily built out the website, or, really built any kind of funnel, or literally anything right around it. And then I would say under earning, I get really uncomfortable. When in ad sales, did not care about asking for money. It was
Mhm.
like, not an issue at all. Negotiating was really easy for me, but when it's like
The
for
personal
my
details.
services, I
Yeah.
like it's like I can't understand how much it feels like a lot, and it makes me feel like greedy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
so that
Got it.
I feel like is really tough. The greedy part is really interesting because I'm like, this is a service and I want to help, and then I feel like, ooh, like, yeah, really greedy. Self-doubt, I mean, I think that's more of like specifically from an earning potential, like, well, what if I make the wrong choice? Even
Mm.
though I know like there is no wrong choice, like it's going to lead to the wherever it's going to lead, and that's going to be right. Like I understand that, but my body doesn't necessarily fully align or connect. Like it hasn't fully dropped into my body.
Yeah.
And then I would
Awesome.
say the stress, same.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean all of it,
Yeah,
go
yeah,
on and on.
Yeah, it's great to
Thanks.
see. And it sounds like the biggest ones were the first couple for you.
Yeah, yeah, I think
Yeah.
so too. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, you want to choose too. You can't do everything at the same time. So, yeah, to really be unstoppable, you got to choose something and really, really go for it and get it going. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
thanks so much for
Awesome.
sharing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
All right. So I just want to share quickly a little bit of my story again, which is my biggest patterns were typically 1 through 3. So it was the stuck in the weeds, like I talked about before, the stress loop. So I was always busy, 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 overwhelmed, and then self-doubt when it came to my bigger dreams, I was very confident in some areas, but in other areas, I had a hard time. So I struggled with these the most, I would say, when I was making the transition out of my previous career in marketing and stepping into coaching. And I knew deep down at that time it was time for a change, but I was really scared to go for it and to go all in. And this is something we talk about a lot, is this concept of going all in. And that is, to me, being unstoppable is like, when you go all in, you know that you're going to make it happen. That's what being an unstoppable woman is to me. So for me, it didn't really stop there. All these patterns actually did follow me into coaching. So when I, had them in the career change and I thought, okay, I did it. I finally made the leap. I'm making money in coaching. That's all just going to get handled, right? But for a while, a lot of those patterns still followed me. I was still having fear and self-doubt. I was constantly getting caught up in the day-to-day, and instead of really zooming out to see, like, where did I want to go and what would really move the needle to get me there. So I did everything myself. I didn't think anyone else could do it. And because of all this, I was busy, I was tired, and I was in that kind of reaction mode instead of strategically planning for the future. And part of being an unstoppable woman is we have to, or we get to, plan for the future. We get to dream, we get to plan, we get to be proactive, take those steps, like Gigi said, make sure you have some sort of accountability in your life if that's something you know you need to really, or you really work well with. And so what saved my butt many times was Gigi stepping in and really being that sounding board for me, really helping me see what did I want? What were the systems we could put in place? And incremental changes happened over time that led to huge, huge, huge shifts. So they led to me shifting into this career, replacing my income very quickly in less than a year, growing significantly from there. Panic attacks going away. I was having a lot of fear or a lot of anxiety before I made that shift. Going from working 50, 60 hours a week to usually 25 to 30 hours a week. Really stepping into that ease and that flow that we talked about. So huge, huge changes. And over time, I really learned these as skills. So each pattern that you learn to overcome, it's not that it's never going to show up again, but when you learn it as a skill, when you really learn to move through those consistently and you set up the systems and you do these things, it's so much rarer that it shows up. And when it does, it doesn't take you off. It doesn't take me off like the way it used to.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a little bit of how that showed up for me. Gigi, you want to?
Yeah, and also, McKenna, when you fully stepped into what you want to do, that's so much of it. When you finally make the choice to go for your dream, and like we said, confidently step into the woman you're meant to be, it doesn't mean your patterns won't show up, but it does mean that they won't stay around as long, you know. If we're not going for what we want, then we don't have that power in us. But once you step into your mission or your dream, then there's certain kind of power, a certain kind of strength that starts to is cultivated in you. And I think the women that will share on the panel, you will see that in them. And but I want to go into sharing a little bit about the story where I made my first like really huge quantum leap, where I really stepped into the unstoppable self for the first time. And that's when I made my first million in revenue in my business. And this was a time when I was raising my kids, I was traveling the world, leading workshops around the world. And while I was doing this, I'm also going to share with you what not to do, because I think that's really important. The biggest mistakes that people make when it comes to really unlocking their magnetism and really going for their big dreams. Yeah. So the first one is coming from your head versus truly what's aligned for you.
Yeah, and everybody, you can go to the next page on your workbook if you're not there right now, and there's a place for you to take notes also underneath, but you can fill in the blank here so you can go back and review some of these later, because I know we're moving pretty quickly here today, but we have a lot we want to cover and also the panelists coming. So Gigi, tell us a little bit more about coming from your head versus what's truly aligned for you. We know what this means, but I don't know if everybody knows what that means.
Yeah, I really saw what I wanted and what brought me alive. That's our language, right? What brought me vitality? What could I get behind and where was their energy? Instead of just choosing something that was a good idea. And we often see this when people come to us for coaching, is they have a good idea and that idea doesn't really resonate all the way through with them. And in other words, if things don't completely work out in the vision that they have, will they stick with it and really go with it? Now, I've stuck with 38 years in my career, right? And that's a huge commitment. Not many people do that these days. But in it, you've got to really know that you feel this so strongly, and it is something that feels fully aligned and you feel energetic around it, and not just a temporary energy, something that really resonates. And for you, you have to see if you're moved by money, you're moved by passion, you're moved by mission. I'm very mission driven for me. Yeah. So it was very aligned. Yeah. So what I did instead is I got support to design my vision so it would fit with what lit me up and what would serve my clients. And I created the right offer and found the right marketing and sales strategy that aligned with my magnetism. So I want to talk a little bit about that. So first of all, in the design, at that time, I was teaching, coaching, and I loved my work. I was leading a lot of workshops, but I really felt there was something else for my clients. And so I dug in to see like what would really serve them. And I put time and thought into that, like we're talking about. And then I looked and saw, what is the way that I wanted to do my outreach. At that time, when I did this, there was no social media. So I found a way that I love to be connected to people and share my work. So the offer that came out it was actually a month-long training where people came and attended in person for 30 days, if you can imagine that. And the investment was $10,000. It was a lot of investment. And
this is back in 1991. $10,000 to come for a month and do this training, right?
Yeah. And I made it a game. That's for me very important. Whatever you do, you want to get in there and you want to make it fun. I was so excited about this program and the outcome. And, for me, everything I develop always, and I think this is why, again, I continue my work. I'm always looking to see what is going to serve the client. What is the next level for my clients that they really need, and how can I create that? And I dream that up by doing what we're talking about here, by sitting back and reflecting and feeling into, noticing where my clients are, and really seeing what do I feel like they want, and then also what would be really fun for me to deliver. And so what I did here is I focused on my daily outreach. And back in those days, we used the phone. And so I would lock myself in a bedroom for several hours a day. I called all my past clients. And again, remember, I was traveling a lot. I had clients all over the world and my connections. And I always call in, see how they were doing, check up on them, and share my new, whatever new was for me, and whatever new thing. And I was sharing this new program. And I was so excited. I got other people excited. And I closed so many of the clients that I already worked with because they were so excited about coming into this with me. Because again, the value add of spending 30 days going through marketing, sales, we did all kinds of things.
Leadership, coaching.
Leadership, but the experience, and a lot of them were owners of businesses, they would take that back into their business and totally revamp their business, have systems for their employees. And so it was a very powerful experience. And so I enrolled most of those clients, or I asked them, who do you know that you think would be interested in this? And so I asked for referrals, and several of my clients also, they offered to put together events, were like workshops, and I would fly out and I would lead those workshops. It would get me in front of new people. And in that, then there was the opportunity then to really have new clients without using social media.
So we're talking about here coming from your head versus what's truly aligned for you. And so Gigi sharing her story here. And what's really important to note about that is a lot of times when people come to master classes, they start to go, okay, maybe I should do all those things, right? And that's actually not the point of the story. And it's not the point of what we're sharing here. There may be something that pings for you and you go, oh, that would be great. I think that's something that really aligns for me. Or there may not, but it is to really look and see what worked for Gigi may or may not be what works for you. It may or may not be the thing that really is aligned for you and lights you up. And so it's super important to come from your alignment instead of from your head, or what we call good ideas. And when we're saying good ideas, we say it in air quotes, good ideas. That's when you say something, we often have that with clients. They say, I'm going to do such and such and such and such. No lights, right? They look so serious. They look so stressed about it. And we're like, okay, tell us more about that. Or what else could you do? And then at some point they hit on the thing and it's like, bing, light bulb moment. And that's what we're looking for when we're talking about alignment here. So mistake number 2 is coming from stress and pressure instead of fun and intent. And this has been a big one, again, with some of the, women that I see nods from some of our clients that are on the panel that used to do this, right? So Gigi, tell us a little bit about this. What does that mean, coming from stress and pressure versus fun and intent? And then how did you approach this differently?
Yeah, so what I did instead is I was super focused and full of intent. And for me, I'll share a little bit more about that. But first, from coming from more ease, is I make things fun. So I create games, and I come from this place, like I said, of where how do I create a game to where when I'm going after my goals, it feels fun. And because a lot of times what I see with people is they make a goal and then they start getting so stressed about making the goal, all the fun goes out of the system, and then all their magnetism completely goes away. And so it's to really look and see, what do you enjoy? How do you like to approach your day in your business? Or as I said with my clients, what was a fun way for me to connect with my clients? Yeah. Does that answer that, McKenna? Or you see something else?
Yeah, it's a totally different energy. So
Yeah.
Gigi can share a little bit more about how she did that. And again, some of this may support you or be the same for you. Some of it may be different, but this is how she approached it.
Yeah.
What did you do there?
Yeah. So what I did instead, first of all, is I was super focused and had full intent. And for me, I connected this to a physical goal for myself that year. I knew if I didn't do my run daily, I was running at that time, that I wouldn't make my million. I mean, just like I felt the intention of what it would take for me to step up from there. And I knew that if I didn't shift something in myself physically, and it wasn't really to lose weight or anything like that, it was the active of committing to something physical and moving myself out. And so when I wanted to lie in bed in the morning, this got me up and going, because I would think, oh my gosh, if I don't do this, I'm not going to make my goal. Yeah. And then I put up a white piece of flip chart paper, which I still do to this day in my office, and was visible. And I tracked every single dollar that came in. And I got my team engaged in this, and we all were doing the same. So we looked at it every day. And I mean, every dollar. If we got a refund from something, we'd put it on our board. And the game was, $83,333, because that in 12 months makes $1 million. And so every month we're going for that 83,000, and we need to make that by the end of the month. And I would put, again, any dollar that came in. So every time I did that, I felt excited. So that for me was that visual stimulation, and always looking at that and knowing this was my goal instead of it being somewhere in my paperwork or something and trying to find it. And then I had fun with it. I stepped into the energy of, if it was going to happen, it was going to be because of me. And I really took that on. And that's why I say it was my first time to tune into that unstoppable energy, in terms of that there were no, oh, or, I can't do this, or I'm a victim, or I'm too busy. And the prize for winning the game is I set myself up to buy my dream car at that time, and then also to rent a condo overlooking the beach in Maui for a year, which I did, which was in Wailea. So in that,
Was your dream car the Supra?
yeah. So it was so funny. That was the time when the Supras had just come
The
out.
original Supras.
Well, no, there were Supras before.
Oh,
they were these
okay.
little Toyota funky cars, and then they came out with the ones that are the very fast ones, and they had the tag on it was, I think, 75,000 back then. And so that, I saw the car, drove the car. I love fast cars. And so it was a very exciting game for me. So
we would sit in the back. Gigi had one of those early cell phones that connected to the car, and she would call her clients and be calling her clients. Then we would Zoom and she would say, "Watch out, mama's driving." I remember that so clearly.
So that was for me, and for me, as the years and different times when I have really played these kind of games. But you have to see what it is for you, and you might not be money driven. You might be something completely different. You might be totally mission driven, that it's something of a mission. But the thing is to connect with whatever that is, get clear on it. And like we said, know those goals, that is clear of a yes or no, not, my life is going to be better. We can't, when at the end of the year, yeah, we can say it's better, yes or no, but we want to know how it's going to be better. Is so, so important.
Yeah, and this is a skill, right? Having fun with it, going for your dreams and goals, like being in that kind of high energy of going for something without the stress and pressure, that takes practice. It is a skill, and you'll hear about this with some of our panelists. And most people just don't know how to do this. They either swing too far to what we call the go mode side of things, right? Which is go, 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 stress, pressure for most people, or they're on the flow side, the flow mode side, where it's like dreams and visions, but nothing ever really seems to happen, right? Mm-hmm. And maybe there's not that full all-in commitment to really taking the right kinds of actions to move their dreams and visions forward every single day. So it is a skill, and it is a skill you can develop. So that's really important to know. What's the last mistake we want to share here, Gigi?
Staying stuck in the patterns, thinking they are just going to change. And, the thing is if we don't change, nothing changes. Makena talked about her patterns a little while ago, and I had many of these too, and I really, really worked through my years of growing myself and changing myself. And I was running business. I had 3 kids at home at that time, because I didn't, anyways, I had 3 kids at home. And it would have been easy for me to just stay stuck in my day-to-day. I had a super busy life and put off that bigger dream and goals until everything lined up perfectly. But, the truth is that would have never happened, because what I did instead is I made a mother's commitment. Failure was not an option. Even when I was scared, I took action anyway. And we will do this together in just a moment. And I also, a big thing is I had support from a mentor through the ups and downs, because the belief in me, there were days and sometimes even weeks, I have to be honest, where I questioned what I was doing, and having someone there that said, no, you keep going for it. You keep doing, you stay focused. I really stepped into my unstoppable self, and we're going to support you to do this during the live activation, which is coming up after the panel, which is really great. Like I said, when you get this opportunity with Makena, because she will definitely activate something in you there. Yeah.
So the mother's commitment, let's go to the page on the mother's commitment in your workbooks. And I think it's page 6, maybe. So it says a mother's commitment, stepping into the unstoppable you. So a mother's commitment means when you have a child, which I do not yet, but Gigi has 5, right? When you have a child, then we all know, then that's you got to commit, right? There's no choice. And so in that, if we take the same kind of energy behind that and really apply this to your dreams, so not just dreaming about it, but going for it. So go ahead and fill in the blank here for you. If you're ready to do this, if you're really ready to make that commitment to yourself. If you're not, don't just do this lightly. It's really important that you take it seriously, right? So you would write, I, Makena Sage, right? Or write your name in there. Commit to owning who I am and stepping into my unstoppable self. Not just dreaming about it, but going for it. I'm all in. And then you would sign your name above, okay? Sign your name there, or just type it in if you're on there. So if you're filling this out, and it's totally fine if you're not, I'll give you just a second to do that. And then we're going to have you open up your mics in just a moment. And we're all going to say, I'm all in at the same time. So we can hear the energy of the group. Okay. Not yet. I'll tell you when. First, fill out your form and really feel the energy of this as you're filling it out. This is a declaration you're making to yourself. It's a moment in time. It's a line in the sand. And it can be that powerful. I've had many turning point moments, and I know Gigi has too, where it's like we said no more of something, or we said, I'm going to do this thing and fully commit to it, and made it happen. And that's the energy of the unstoppable woman. All right, everyone get ready to unmute yourselves for just a moment. Okay, everybody ready? All right, 1, 2, 3. I'm all in.
All in.
Okay, let's do it one more time. Ready? In case somebody didn't understand. We're going to do it one more time. 1, 2, 3. I'm all in. Woo! All right, love it. Great. So next we're going into the panel, but remember we do have the activation and the Q&A coming up after this, so you won't want to miss those. So be sure to stick around with us till the end. But next, we are super excited to have these panelists on with us today. These women have created incredible success, not just for themselves, but the people around them. So I'm going to introduce them. So starting with Anna Rieger. Anna is the founder of FlipLock and is married and a mom to 6 children. And she really stepped out from behind the scenes to become a TEDx speaker and a successful serial entrepreneur on a mission to save lives. So Anna, we'll have you share your story in just a moment, but you can maybe just say hello.
Hello, everybody.
Yeah, thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Do you want to bring our next panelist up?
Yeah, so Lisa Antis went from anxiety attacks and 60-hour work weeks to doubling her tax prep and bookkeeping business, working half the time. She's also married and a mom of 3. And Lisa, we remember back in those days, and it's quite
very different.
I remember. Hi, everybody.
Great to have you here. Yeah. Henrika Dorndecker has been a coach for more than 20 years. In fact, I think she was probably back in some of those month-long trainings back in the day, right? And she's a mom of 3 who went from struggling financially to creating a 6-figure plus business and called in a fabulous relationship. And I think she's got that person on the call with us today. So you want to say hello, Henrika?
Hello, everybody. Love to be here.
Awesome. So we're going to have each of these women share a little of their stories. And while we're doing that, you have a place in your notes to take notes, but also at the top to write questions for the panelists. And so you can write those in there, and then we'll have some time to take some quick questions from all of you on the call today. So Lisa, I think we'll start with you. We'll keep all of you up here on the screen, and maybe we pull Gigi and I off. Yeah. Just for while they're sharing, you can leave all 3 ladies up though. So Lisa, do you want to tell us just a little bit about kind of like a before and after, right? Before you were an unstoppable woman and kind of that moment in time, what was going on? And then what's changed?
Yeah.
What's changed?
Back then, I was having anxiety attacks almost every day, and it would, with them having them back to back, it basically took me out because it would take me 2 to 3 days to recover. But when you're having them consistently, you don't really recover from them. And me and my husband were on the verge of divorcing. There was no communication between us. I hid in my office just to avoid any contact with him. And the relationship with my kids, of course, that suffered because I was hiding. and just so that there was no confrontation. So I was I ended up really sick at the end of before I started working with Gigi and Makena. I ended up really sick for about 5 or 6 weeks at the end of tax season, because I would be up till 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning and back at it at about 4 or 5 in the morning. So it was just a constant. I was doing everything myself because it was my business and I thought that I had to do it all. So yeah, I was not, it was mine and I was going to do everything for it.
Yeah. Were you where you wanted to be financially at that time?
Oh, nowhere near. No. No,
yeah.
I only had like 200 clients. And at that time I was like, you know what? I'm good. I don't need to move forward with this. I'm just going to keep it where it is. Definitely not working in my business or working on it.
Which sounds like a lot of clients to most of us, right? But you're in a business where you're doing volume. It's, it's small numbers with a lot of clients.
Yeah.
So that's a little bit of a snapshot of where you were. And then what changed when you really stepped into being an unstoppable woman? Where are you now in terms of some of these areas you talked about? Anxiety, your relationship, your kids, your income.
I've not had an anxiety attack in almost 3 years. Yeah. If I feel the one on the brink, I just stop and I talk to myself and say, no, this is not happening. I channel you and Gigi. and then I don't have the attack. It's like, all right, we can keep moving. Me and my husband are still married and we are still working on it, but we are so much more happier than we were. And and my kids, the communication with my kids is so much better. The communication overall is on the next level.
And what happened in your business? What changed?
Well, a lot changed. Started working. I found that work life balance. Back then I was working probably 80 hours a week. I think right now I'm working 30 hours a week, and that's during tax season.
Amazing.
Wow. I told myself, no, I need to have a work-life balance, and it's been working out. And I delegate. I actually have a team of 4. I went from just me to a team of 4, and I love to delegate everything.
Love it. And what happened? I mean, did your business suffer in terms of financial when you stopped working so much, or what happened financially?
Grew. So I went from 200 clients to over 600.
Wow. Yeah.
Yay. And then also on the bookkeeping side, I went from, I think, 7 clients to we have 15 clients.
Awesome. Incredible. Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing. We'll come back around and ask some questions and let our audience ask some questions as well. Let's go ahead and go to our next person to kind of do a little before and after first. So Anna, why don't you share a little bit about where were you, what was going on before you really stepped into your unstoppable self?
Well, we're talking 10 plus years ago, maybe. I was so busy. I was working on everything, but I felt like I wasn't getting enough done. Same type of situation as Lisa, I think. And nobody could do it like me, so I was not delegating appropriately. And I was just not clear on what I should have been doing. Actually, I didn't realize how much I was doing at that time and how much I wasn't focused on myself. Actually, I wasn't taking care of myself. I wasn't doing any self-care. And so back then it was go, 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 go. Like you said, go or flow. I was go. I didn't know what flow meant at all. There was no flow in my life. It was just go.
Yeah. And was there anything else at that time in terms of before you stepped in? Was there anything you were longing for or anything that you were challenged by at that time?
Yeah, I was very much, well, I mean, I didn't know that I really wanted to be in front. But again, when we get interviewed or talk to our magical coaches, they find the lights and then they realize, they help you see, it's not, they don't tell you, they help you see what it is that lights you up and brings you energy. And in that I realized I had an epiphany that I want to be front. I don't want to be in the back scenes anymore. I don't want to be the person that does all the details all the time. I think I needed to do something that got me in front. But to the point of what Gigi was talking about earlier, you know, I didn't have like I'm a very mission driven person. So I needed a mission. And, you know, that once I found that, then I was able to really step out of my, you know, self-doubt to go out and really step into where I am today, actually.
Yeah. Will you share a little bit about where you are today? So you found a mission.
Yes. So my mission is, I'm a mom, as you all know, and my mission is school safety. And then my bigger goal is to standardize a system for active threats across the United States, actually. And because of that, when I was first starting, I had never even spoke. I did my first presentation to my actual amazing group of women in this mastermind, in the program that I'm in with my coaches. I think it was in Greece. And I didn't even know what I was talking about. I was stumbling, but you know, it gave me the confidence, the courage, the support, and also with the coaches, with Gigi and Makena, I had the guidance to actually have the confidence to continue to push forward and to get out of my head. And really it was, you know, Gigi was like, well, do you want to save lives? Then you need to get in that camera and talk. It's true, because I was all these excuses why I can't, because I'd never spoke before. I'd never done that. I had 100 excuses to like run the other way. But when I really stepped into, this is really what I want to do, and I think I can make a difference, I know I can, then that really empowered me. And then of course, with the support of the group that I had at that time, really, you know, gave me the courage to go out and continue to do what I'm doing now. And, you know, my company's been in business for a couple of years, and we're all over the United States. And I attribute a lot of that to the coaching that I've received with Gigi and Makena both, and also the support from the women in the group that I've been with over the years. It doesn't matter what level you are, you know, this is a new business for me. I didn't know anything about what I needed to do. All I knew is that I wanted to save lives, and how did I need to get there? And, you know, they helped guide me in that way. You know, what was it I needed to do, and what does my next 5 years look like? You know, and I never even thought about what I want to do in 1 year, you know?
Yeah. And you've really stepped into such a different energy, right? Those of us who have known Anna over the years have watched from, you know, hesitant, really. I mean, I remember when you got up and spoke at that retreat and you were not sure and you felt a little shy, and, you know, and now you're like on TV left and right, sharing your message. And
I didn't want to go. I was so nervous. I was like, right.
Awesome. Thank you. Thanks so much for sharing. Enrica, let's have you share. Tell us a little bit about before you really felt like you stepped into your unstoppable self. What was going on in your life?
So I think I was depressed. I was disappointed from myself also, and from life. I was fresh, separated, and was alone with my kids. And I was sitting there, I remember about 3 years ago, maybe. And was sitting there and thought, okay, I really don't know what to change and how to change. So I was coaching for so many years, but I was not really growing my business. I was kind of stuck. Yeah. So, and absolutely sad and disappointed. And I knew out of my old experience, I have had many coaches years before, and I knew I really want support with that, and so I reached out, and the first year was hard.
Changed?
Yeah, the first year was hard. I was confronted with all my patterns and with all my anxiety and my stress things and my go and all these things, but I was able with your support, with Gigi and Makena, and also the support of our group and of our retreats. The retreats were for me the best thing ever. I was able to let go in a way and to relax deeply. And so the first year I tripled my income, and the second year I had the same income. But for me, way more important was that with 80% less stress and pressure. So I made the same amount of money, but I was so much more relaxed and happy, and healthy and with my kids and so, and now I'm in my third year. I'm again on my way to double again. So please hold all the fingers for me.
We'll hold everybody, give her some spirit fingers and
Yes.
send some good energy her way.
And another really important thing happened. I met Andrea. She's also here. She's my partner now since 6 months, and it was a really important, or is a really important part of my life. I dreamed about that for many, many years, but I didn't feel that was, I felt first I want to have my business together in a way and feel happy for myself and feel relaxed, and then I can go and have a relationship again. And then it happened also with the help of Gigi, especially she gave me a frame that I could see, okay, this I can do this. I'm a very game person. I'm a very when I have a game, I go for it, and I'm a very money person. So I'm not so much on a mission. I'm a mission to make. Yes, also I'm a mission person, but I'm also a money person. So this is driving me. So
yeah,
and I'm curious.
What drives you? Yeah.
Yes.
I'm curious, does anybody relate to that one where maybe you've been putting something you want in relationship, whether that's calling in relationship or making some improvements in your current relationship, if you feel like you put that on hold sometimes because you're so focused on other areas, right? Or maybe you do the opposite. You're so focused on your personal life that you've really put your career or business on hold. Okay, well, beautiful stories, ladies. Super inspiring. Yeah. Anastasia said, so inspiring all. So let's get some questions from our amazing audience here for these women, because, we're really talking about being unstoppable here, right? And so these are women who have made huge changes, stepped hugely into their unstoppable selves. And we can share, of course, all day long, but it's different when you hear from others who have done it. Really think about what's something that maybe is challenging you currently, or something that you feel like they might, from the perspective that they have, what they've gone through, they might be able to lend some perspective to. Lisa, what was the transition like from doing it all yourself to having a team to delegate to?
Great question, because that was hard. For me, that was really hard because I'd been doing it myself for so many years that, you have kind of like, I don't want to call it a syndrome, but that, if it's going to get done right, I'm the only one that can do it. But especially with, because I was working with Makena a lot with it, to start with delegating one thing. What's one thing that you don't want to do anymore that you can delegate? And so when I took that mindset, I was like, I felt relieved because I was like, I don't have to do this anymore. So then I was like, all right, let me do another one. And then I just one by one, and now I delegate everything. Like I would tell my team, I don't want to do this anymore. Who wants to do it?
Yeah, I think Anna can share a little bit about that too, because same thing. She was doing everything. I had several businesses, and she was behind the scenes doing all the work, right? What was the big shift, Anna? Because we've made such a shift,
That was a big, big, big one for me, because it was hard for me to trust people to do it the way I would do it. It was a little bit of self-importance. It's what we labeled it later on in my coaching life. With Gigi and Makena, I was self-important, but it's kind of one of those things. But once I, like Lisa, realized like, wow, I can get somebody to do this, do that. I delegate everything. And now, I wasn't even able to go on one of the retreats years ago, which I'm still mad about. It was Hawaii. Anyway, I'll get over it. But it was because I was so busy. And I told Gigi, I'm so busy. So then the next one was Thailand, and I really wanted to go to that one. So I ended up, delegating, and that was it. That trip was really life transforming for me, because I realized I could go away. Nothing was going to fall apart. People would step in and support me. And I just needed to be okay with people making mistakes. And I think that's the biggest thing with delegating. You have to be okay with that and get comfortable with that. And as long as you have open communication, and because of the communication skills that I've learned working with Gigi and Makena, I've been able to catch those things and not have them turn into big issues, where we have a very open, line of communication. And the communication has really helped with me in training and delegating people, because that's really what it's about. You have to communicate with your team.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah.
Henrika, looks like we have a question for you. What was a key point of strategy that helped you double? I think it was even more than double. You think you tripled your income in the first year, right? What was a key thing that you did differently?
So McKenna, we both worked on my structure and on my sales line or sales funnel. It was for me very much because when I know what to do, I do it. So it was really to have this plan and to really sit back and talk. We talked very specifically through how I can do that. And we ended up with doing interviews with tax consultants, women. These are my main clients at the moment. Female tax consultants, to call them, because I'm loving to do cold calling. This is my way of marketing the last 15 years, I think. And inviting them to an interview to get to know them, to get to know their stress points, their challenges, and also to get to know their desires and their what they want to have in life. And this was the first step to get to know them. And sometimes there were a woman who is interested in more, and then we follow up with certain steps.
So really created your client cultivation flow, as we call it, right? What was the one that would really work for you?
For me?
No, I said we found what really worked for you in that, right? Because not everyone does cold calling, for example. Some people are going to do social media or whatever it is for them.
Yeah, that's one of the things we do, is really look and see what's right for you. What's the way you want to do your outreach and everything.
But what I see when I look back in the last 3 years, it's the one is the structure and to know what to do, and at the same time to go for your fun and to go for your pleasure and to go for all these things. This is all building together your dream life.
It's a very holistic thing. It builds your every area.
It's not only the structure, but it's one step.
Awesome. Great. All right, Anna, we have a couple questions here. How long did it take for you to make a first step toward Fliplock from your first moment of realizing your goal and mission and deciding to go for it? Days, weeks, months? Did you ever have someday syndrome?
Someday syndrome. I think someday I'll have TEDx. We wrote this down in our group. I'll be a TEDx speaker, and someday. And I think the moment I realized that what I was creating was going to save lives, I went into action right away. And I honestly did right away. From the moment I presented to Greece to where I am today has been right away. It hasn't been a slow. And also I have the support of everybody, but Gigi and Makena have been very instrumental.
Yeah, I think you really, when you felt that alignment, you stepped into it and you went for it. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because you had a lot of fear, like she talked about. Anna was not an in-front person, and she had to go through use so much courage to do what she's done up until this point. It was just amazing. Yeah. And this is also one of the things that all three of these women can tell you, that women tell us all the time, is they feel confident in the woman who they are today and really going for what they want. Yeah.
So we have one more. Anna, as a mother of six, she says, what's one key thing you've learned to implement to help achieve time balance to commit to your children? And she said, maybe Lisa and Henrika, if you have something to add to that as well.
Well, for me, I think it's important that, also without being in the go anymore, I step more into the flow, which means I find the balance in trying to make family time, vacation time, or just time that I'm spending with my children and my family. I think that's important for me to not be 80 hours a week. And much like Lisa, I was working 80 hours a week and felt like I was never getting anything done. But now I have teams and I'm supported, and I probably work 30 hours a week, maybe 35. And I've been able to grow my business just as fast as I would if I worked 80 hours without support, doing it on my own. But I think for my kids, balance is really just having the delegation and support that I had learned to do, and then spending some quality time with my family, my husband, and my kids. Our kids are, going to grow up really fast. And I think that was something that was also brought to my attention. And we did an exercise. I was like, okay, you have 5 summers left with my youngest. And I was like, oh my God, and that realization that we don't step back and think about really put that fire under me to really make more time for my daughter, for our youngest daughter right now.
Yeah. Anything to add to that, Lisa or Enrica, in terms of achieving time balance to commit to your children?
Yeah, just planning, planning in, taking the calendar and sit down and talk with I have 2 adult children and 1 little one, to talk with them when we are doing this weekend together and planning it in and having just planning.
Yeah.
One thing that I really do is I shut down my business in the middle of the day. So I take my last appointment at 2:30 in the afternoon, and I don't take my next one till 6:30 in the evening, because I have it where my kids come home from school, we have dinner together. So every night we sit down as a family, catch up. And then, like Anna and Henrika said, with vacations, you just plan, and when you have that team around you, that, it helps. And then, and McKenna and Gigi, because we're all like, no, you can work less and still make more money and have a happy life on top of that with a thriving business. So I had to learn that. That was something that I really had to heed to and be like, okay, I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
Great. Awesome. Well, thank you, ladies. Let's thank them for coming on today and sharing. They'll stick around a little bit longer because we are going to do the activation. We'll do some more Q&A. So it could be with them, with us. So they'll stick around, or I think they will. So if you have to jump off, ladies, you can. But all right. So we're going to go into our activation now. And why doesn't everybody just share, like, what's one takeaway you've had so far from what the women have shared, or what the women shared in the panel, something you're taking away? Just share quickly an aha or a takeaway. What was like that light bulb moment for you where you went, oh, I need that, or I'm going to do it this way? Let's get a couple of those before we move on into our activation. So inspiring. Awesome. Thanks, beautiful ladies. Thank you. Rebecca said, wish more people could hear that working less is a thing. Nice. Mindy says, importance of structure and building out a client cultivation flow. Yeah. Rebecca, working quality, not quantity. 60 hours, amazing. Emery says, dig deep, dreams are possible. Nice. Awesome. All right. So everybody get comfortable. We're going to do a short guided process of really activating you, stepping into your unstoppable self. So this can be a turning point moment for you. And then we'll go into some other shares and some Q&A. So get comfortable. We're going to turn on a little bit of music here in the background and take you through a guided closed eye process. Stay awake though. This will be pretty short and sweet and powerful. So take a couple really deep breaths. Just get centered in your own self. Noticing, like, imagining there's almost a pillar through the center of your body. A pillar of energy, of light, and connecting into that pillar. And it goes all the way through your body into the ground, roots deep down into the earth, and then shoots up through your body all the way to the heavens. And then noticing a warm glow around your heart. Maybe the glow has a color, maybe not, maybe it sparkles. Notice this feeling, and it might even help you to put your hand on your heart physically and tune into your heart space energy. So the pillar represents your alignment. It represents your connection to whatever you believe in, God, the universe, your higher self, and to the earth. And then your heart is your essence. It's your energy, your aliveness. And these two things intermingle inside of you. And they have infinite potential. And so bring to your mind or to your heart some of your big goals and dreams, maybe some of the ones you wrote down for next year. And notice, like, how do they make you feel? Do you feel excited? Do you feel some butterflies, maybe a little nervous or scared? And if you do feel any feelings of nervousness or scared, it's not to try to make those go away. It's just to notice them, because the truth is, and I think every one of the women on that panel would tell you, they still have days where they feel nervous or scared, right? They still have things that come up. So it's almost just making peace with those. And I'm imagining them in this moment as butterflies. So imagine your worries, your fears, all of that are butterflies, and they're just flying around. We're going to love them, and we're going to see them and honor them. But there's something even stronger and even more powerful than those butterflies, and that is your inner alignment and your aliveness, your energy that is true to you. So notice that you can experience both of these things at the same time. You can feel the butterflies, whatever those are for you, and you can feel your inner core, your alignment, your heart. And just see if you can expand that feeling of your heart energy and your alignment energy. Expand it out. Notice it getting bigger and brighter and stronger. And it actually ends up enveloping the butterflies. So the butterflies are still there, but they're encompassed within your beautiful alignment and heart energy. And then they're going to keep expanding your energy out and out and out. And it's effortless. You don't have to push it. You don't have to force it or pressure or stress about it. It's actually totally natural for this energy to keep growing bigger and brighter. It's just waiting for you to give it permission. And as it continues to expand out, imagine that your dreams are floating out there somewhere in the universe. They already exist. That partner you're calling in, or that baby, that amount of money you really want to make next year, the dream home, whatever that might be, it's actually already existing in some form in the universe, right? And so your energy is expanding out, and it's actually connecting. It's getting so big that it's connecting to everything you want to call in. And it's calling to it. It's magnetic. Continuing to feel that feeling of your unstoppable, magnetic self who stands in her power, who effortlessly, of course, with action, with intent, but also with an ease, who really connects to everything that she wants. Taking a few more moments to feel what this feels like, and maybe you give it a word. How do you feel in this moment? Think of one word to describe when you are in your core and within your unstoppable self, what is the feeling like from the inside? Know that you can tap into this anytime, every single day. And come back again and again to this place. So taking another deep breath, go ahead and start to, you don't need to shrink your energy. You can actually keep it out there. Keep it connecting and attracting everything you want. But begin to bring your awareness back into your body. Feeling yourself staying open, curious, ready for magic and miracles. Taking a deep breath, wiggling your fingers and toes, and then coming on back into the room. Everyone share, what was your word? What was your word? From inside, what did you see? What did you experience? Steady, clarity, powerful, proud, lightness, abundance, excitement, warmth, fecund. I don't know that word. Grow more. Love it. Love it. Love it. So whatever, notice, I don't even think we got any word twice. Isn't that amazing? No word repeated twice. So what a beautiful thing. So your unstoppable self is completely unique to you, right? And that's what we want to tap into here. And so this is really your first moment of this, or maybe you're getting back in touch with her, but you get to really, really carry this out with you. So go ahead and write down. We have actually a place for that in the workbook. Anything you saw during the activation. Anything you saw during the activation. Capture anything you felt. Do you guys know I never plan these visualizations? I just do them in the moment. I'm always like, I wonder what's going to happen. Something happens.
They're special, yeah.
Usually works out. Nice. All right, take a couple more minutes and jot down just quickly any bullet points, anything you want to remember, since you're in that energy right now.
And then moving forward, if you feel like this masterclass and panel has been valuable to you and you've learned something that'll actually help you move forward in your life and business to be that unstoppable woman, give us a
Yeah, we'd love to hear from you.
yeah.
And we've still got a little more to go.
Yeah.
But just to take a finger on the pulse of how y'all are doing, amazing. Awesome. Great. So curious, do we have your permission? We always like to ask to make an invitation to come in and work with us and become truly that unstoppable woman in 2025. We'd love to invite you. We have, especially the program we want to share with you today is the one that all three of our panelists are in, and that's called the Wealthy World Changers Mastermind. But Gigi, do you want to share your story first?
Yeah. So I wanted to share that recently I invested in hiring a coach and joining a mastermind myself, which I've never done actually, because I saw that what got me where I am right now would not get me to my next quantum leap, which I was really interested in taking things to my next leap. I have a few more years of working. And so I looked at where I would be actually a year from now if I continued on my current path. And this is when I made the decision. I was very clear if, I stayed on my current path and I kept on going the way I was going, that I would not make my goal. And so I have to be honest, when I decided to do this, nobody came out and actually tried to sell me or anything. I just in myself looked and saw, and I thought, okay, I'm going to reach out to this person and I'm going to invest. And honestly, it was a really big investment. But when I looked at where I would be for a year from now with this kind of support, I knew I would make a quantum leap. I know that when clients work with us, we accelerate the time of what it takes to do something. And, so I knew the experience and I knew I need outside help too. And the fascinating thing is within 3 months, I 8x'd my investment with this person. 8x.
Oh my gosh.
And that,
I
of
feel like we
course,
talked about this, but that's amazing.
and of course, that is where I am in my business and everything. And so I invite you
We should have
to,
had you on the panel. I'm kidding.
so I invite you to think about this while you're listening to this today, because that was the thing for me. I know I ask clients that all the time. If you don't do this, where will you be a year from now? And if you do get support, where will you be? So I put that on myself, and I saw clearly if I kept going the way I was going without the support, I would not make that pivotal quantum leap. So yeah. So do you want to share?
Okay, so at this point in the masterclass, we are about to share about the Wealthy World Changers program. And this is our year-long mastermind program. And so before we get into that part of the class, I did want to share the link that you can go to learn more about this program if you want to kind of follow along or check it out later. So it will be linked in the show notes as well. Or you can go to followyouraliveness.com/mastermind. followyouraliveness.com/mastermind. And then if you are curious about applying, if you're listening to this on or before November 26th, 2024, then we do have a call booking link that is linked in the show notes as well. So you can book a no obligation application call if that's something you're interested in. Just go to the show notes and it is linked there. If you're listening to this after that date, then just go to that URL I shared before that talks about the mastermind. And on that page, you'll find our current application process. So the limited time offers that we share in the episode or in this masterclass are expiring soon. So again, if you want to take advantage of those, just make sure to book your call on or before Tuesday, November 26th. Otherwise, we still have the masterclass up and running as long as that page is live, and you can join anytime. And there's so much value in this program. So we hope you love it. Yeah, so I'll bring up a little bit about the program, and we have many different programs we offer, but this is the one we have a special offer around today. So we wanted to share it with you. So we will share the link to you as well in a little bit, but first, just to say that this is really about 3 main areas. So we focus very much on business or career. You don't have to be an entrepreneur. Many of our clients are, but many are also doing purpose projects or passion projects, and also really growing in their careers. And we also really look at relationships. So some of the women touched on this a little bit. We didn't have time to go super deep into it in the panel, though I'm sure they all could have shared in their, partnerships and their families, huge changes that happen there. And so we really do work in a holistic way. And then yourself, your confidence, your clarity, you're going out for creating what you want. Lisa had the anxiety attacks that went away. It's different for everyone what these areas mean. But at the intersection of all of these is your world changer legacy. So when all of these are thriving and working in harmony, that energy overflows to create your world changer legacy. And this is the impact you're going to make on your community, your loved ones, and the world. So that's really a lot of what this program's about. And it's about your dreams coming true faster than you ever thought possible. Like we said, it's not that you aren't able to do it or you're not even on the path to doing it, but so much of the time many of you said, it's like, it feels like the slow path, right? So when you join the mastermind, you step into a new experience of time. So in one way, life slows down. I'm gonna make this a little bigger, because you go from rushing around, feeling stressed and pressured with all your different responsibilities, like many of the women shared, to experiencing more ease and flow and spaciousness. And then as you clear out energy leaks and connect to your deeper desires, an unwinding process happens. Your heart rate slows, your breathing deepens, and you feel more energized and inspired. You have more time for the things that are important to you. And then on the other hand, your results speed up. Suddenly, it's like you've collapsed time, and all the dreams and outcomes you desire begin to happen faster than you ever thought possible and with more fun than you ever imagined. So one last thing we want to share here before I'll tell you how, you can learn more about this and read the page and everything is just what are some of the key areas of breakthroughs that women have when they first come into the program? You all heard better than us sharing is always in their words, and you've heard some of their stories today. And a lot of times it starts with clarity on what you want and really understanding like what is your vision and what is the plan, right, to make that happen, like Henrika shared. So you're not waiting or kind of taking baby steps, but you're really step by step strategically moving those dreams forward. And that's really what we're talking about here with the roadmap so that, people say, well, I'm busy. I don't know how I'm going to fit this into my life. But usually they find that they become less and less busy with more and more results as they really go through this. And this takes a little bit of time, right? We have to clear out the things that are creating all that busyness or create systems around them to allow you to do this. And then also really supporting you to break through those fears or doubts or other roadblocks that come up along the way. Confidence we talked about, which is really knowing and owning your gifts and also really stepping into that unstoppable woman, like I said before, that anything you set your mind to, you will create it. Energy, this is ease and flow, getting out of the go, go, go mode if that's something for you, or, really learning how to blend the go, which is actually a great thing, with the flow. So a lot of times people tell us they're astonished at how relaxed they feel while they're still kicking butt in business or kicking butt in whatever area of their lives. And then connection. So this is the relationship component, romantic relationships, family dynamics. And we also go deep into leadership and business relationships. And really, how can you bring out the best in people, reduce conflict, and experience more richness and depth with all the people in your life?
Finding that
finally,
partner you want.
Exactly. And then finally, a lot of times our, participants come in feeling like they have very little time for themselves and their loved ones. But over time, they set up those systems of support, their energy increases, and they get a lot of support from us, like the women shared, and also from the group. We have an amazing mastermind community. So that is just a little kind of snapshot of what the program's about. And we really invite you, if you're curious at all, to just book a call. There's zero pressure. It's not a pushy sales call, nothing like that. There's no obligation to buy. Just come, if you're curious and if you really want to make that up level in 2025, something about what you've seen today, what I've just shared really sparks for you. And then we have a couple bonuses going on right now. So if you book a call now and then we do decide, or you decide that you want to be a part of the program, we feel like you'd be a great fit, then you will get the mastermind is a 12-month program. So if you come in now in the next week when we have our call, you'll actually get 13 months for the price of 12. So you'll get basically December 2024 for free. And then we're also offering a pay in full bonus right now, which would be an additional. So the mastermind includes group coaching. It includes one-on-one coaching. You have us on voice note. It's a huge amount of support. So voice note where you can chat with us and ask questions anytime and get support anytime. There's a optional retreat included. There's all kinds of things. So we have also a pay in full bonus where you can get an additional 90-minute coaching session on top of your other coaching hours that you can use anytime during the year. And that's with Gigi and I both together. So normally a session like that would be a $2,000 value, and you get that if you decide to pay in full for the program. So last but not least here, and we'll get into the Q&A, is just to share what is included in the program. So let me bring that up here. One moment. All right, so these are not the price, these are the values, right? But we have weekly 90-minute mastermind calls. So you'll notice here we have 3 different tiers. We have the Gold Plus, and the Platinum tier. So people can really join at whatever level works for them. We have one-on-one coaching. So in the Gold and the Gold Plus, you get 10 hours in the year. In the Platinum, you get unlimited. This is something we've never done before and we'll probably never do again. It's a really, really special thing for this year. But we have some amazing women who've come into the Platinum program, and you can really get on and book a call anytime you need it. The Gold and the Gold Plus, you have the voice note coaching, so you can still voice note us anytime you need it. But it's very different than, get on and book a session truly anytime you need that additional support. The mentorship curriculum, Gigi, do you just want to share about your news quickly? That
Yeah, so I'm only going to work 3 more years. And so in this, I decided to really do our mastermind around mentorship. So to really teach the things a lot of times that I share with the women, but they don't learn like how to do it. And of course, we work very much on your businesses. Like you said, we have such a well-rounded program because we have the private coaching. We can work very much on your private things or privately with you on your business. And we have the Voxer support. You can, anytime there's an issue, we go back and forth with our clients all the time. And then the mentorship is really learning. You learn things for your business, for your relationship, I mean, it is the things that I have learned in the last 38 years. I'm sharing a huge bulk of that in the mastermind over these next couple of years.
yeah, leadership skills, communication skills, a lot of these things that the women said were super, super impactful for them. We also have online business intensives. So this is where, in addition to what you're learning from the private coaching and, getting support around that's really personalized to you, we lead intensives for the mastermind where you go deeper and we really practice whatever it is, it's going to support you around your business, including maybe that's marketing or sales or messaging. And then we also include a lot of bonuses. So when you're in the mastermind, you're basically in our amazing top tier program here. And so you get an all access course pass to all of these other programs while you're in the mastermind. So pretty much most of our lower level programs are our self-study programs on a range of different topics. So self-doubt, moving through fear and self-doubt, relationship and communication, self-love, showing up online and kind of moving through anything that comes up around that. And we also have this content vault, which is we brought in experts over the years who have taught amazing deep dive trainings on anything from how to write a book and publish it, how to, do PR, top ranked podcasts, to also some of the more personal things like sexuality and sensuality, feng shui and space healing. So we've had a wide range of topics there. So you really get an all access course pass to all of that when you're in the program. Now, optional is a 7-day retreat. So this is included in the Gold Plus tier, and this is our 7-day, 8-night. We just had this in Sonoma this last time. Normally, these are international, so they're usually in Europe somewhere. Or we've done Thailand, Bali. We've done all kinds of amazing locations. And so you can get that included if you come into the Gold Plus. And then the 2-day, the Platinum includes the unlimited private coaching, another private VIP day, which is one-on-one with Gigi or me or both of us together, depending. And then a 2-day small group immersion. So this is with just the Platinum people. So it's a much smaller group, another kind of immersion that you get in the year. So incredible, incredible amount of support, as you can see. And this is really where the women that, shared on the panel today had huge, huge, huge jumps in such a short time. And again, even if you don't see how to make it work financially, we do have other options. So if I'm curious about working with you guys, I'm not sure if that's the program for me, or I don't see how to make it work financially, then go ahead and book a call anyway, because we can really see how we can best support you. And then I wanted to hear from our panelists quickly, if you would share, just like 1 minute from each of you, did you have any fears or doubts about making the investment in yourself when you first started? Does anybody can just kind of unmute yourself? Yeah, Henrika, you want to go first?
Sure. I was terrified with making the money, but investing the money in myself and in the program, because I didn't have it at all. I didn't have $1,000 to give away. But I was very, very sure that's my way. I was very sure that I want to do that, and then I got a loan for it. Yeah.
You treated it like a business investment then.
Business investment, yes.
Yeah, amazing. Yeah, and tripled your income. So I guess it worked out. Good ROI. Lisa, how about you?
Yeah,
Will you
Makena,
spotlight Lisa?
that first call, I was on the fence almost that whole call, but in the end, ultimately, I knew that I was drowning and I didn't know how to get out. And so I decided to take that leap. And go for it. And I think that first year, I went from 200 clients, I think to 300 or 400 clients or something like that. It was,
Yeah, I think you 1.5x or maybe even more than 1.5x your income
yeah,
that year.
yeah, I
If I
did.
remember correctly.
Yeah, and I didn't have the money either, but I was like, I'm this work. I am going to make this work. And I actually went to my husband, although we weren't on good terms, like, listen,
Yeah.
I
You
need to
probably
do
put it on a
something.
payment plan. I don't remember, but to be able to get
Yeah, it was a
started
payment
and really
plan.
grow.
So we went on a payment plan, and it was history from there. I mean,
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. Nice. All right. Anna, I don't remember. Did you say you wanted to share? Totally fine either
Yeah,
way.
yeah, when I first started, I
Yeah.
wasn't sure, and I didn't really know, but I can tell you that from where I started was probably a smaller, I didn't go on the trip and all that stuff, but as I grew and learned, I'm in whatever the best plan is, because I've seen such a good value. And I didn't get to say, since I've been working with Gigi and Makena, I've probably at least minimum more than doubled my net worth overall.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
that's a fact
Nice.
for sure from working with you guys.
Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you, ladies. Yeah, and we'll do some Q&A here in just a moment. So you can book your call, which I highly recommend. Like I said, even if you're like, oh, I don't know, this may not be it, or I'm not sure about this program in particular, we do have some other things we can definitely support. If you feel the call, that's the main thing, is just book it. There's no obligation, no pressure. Yeah, anything else you want to say, Gigi, before we go into Q&A?
Just thank you so much for being here. And yeah, if you have questions, ask them now. Now's the time. We'd love to share with you. And yeah, we appreciate it.
Absolutely. So let's take some questions. This can be on anything we've covered today, anything that as you go out of here, you want to be super clear on, to really step into your unstoppable self. What would you love to ask? And it could be a question for us or the panelists, honestly. Either one. Valentina, I see you closing your eyes and going deep there. Has anything come to you yet, or?
No, I was just thinking that, I was going deep in trying to find a question for me, but I think what came was that there's a lot of information that I now want to process and sit with and go a little deeper and really internalize. Because
Nice.
I really feel like this mastermind was really helpful. Thank you so much.
You're so welcome. Was there one thing you really take away that you think of in this moment that you're like, that was an aha?
Yeah, definitely. For me, was the alignment with one's mission is very powerful drive, and that sometimes I feel like that's true for me, and I feel like I heard that from this call, that just align. It just takes me, it will just take me to align to my mission to really focus.
Yeah. And you're someone that I know is super, when you set your mind to something, super determined, right? So it'd be great for you to really find what is that and really go for it. Yeah. Nice.
Yeah, I'm really excited about it. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Who else? Questions?
What are you taking away from today, maybe? Yeah.
Who wants to go? Rebecca, would you share an aha?
Of course, thank you. And I have pages and pages and pages of notes. So thank you.
Good.
Really just the power of, and thank you, McKenna and Gigi, for getting us there, for the power of truth telling. I mean, hearing about, Anna's story about her family and her husband, like she didn't have to share that, but she did. Talking about being really real about how many hours they used to work. That really stood out. And also how hard it was, but also how helpful we can be for each other when we tell the truth. So I think the truth telling is just super cool. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for being here.
And in a kind way. Sometimes people tell the truth and they're You both have done that. All of you have done that in a very kind way.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks for sharing.
I just feel I'm connected. This is beautiful. As I mentioned, very peaceful.
Yeah.
Like my day has been such a crazy day, especially having so many Zoom calls, and the time difference was not right. But then having this call, although it's only an hour, I feel I'm connected again.
Yeah.
Thank you for being here. Rania was with us in Sonoma at our retreat. So it's great to see you again. Yeah. Thank you. All right. So thank you, ladies. I feel like we can wrap there unless there's any other questions. My aha again from Henrika. I'm so thankful for my life and grateful for all the support. Roussel said it was perfect timing for this call. I reconnected with a heart creation. Beautiful, ladies. Everyone unmute yourself and let's say bye. Out loud.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Nice to see you. Have a great rest of your day.
Yeah, thank you.
Lots of
Bye,
love.
ladies.
Talk to you soon. Bye.
That's our episode for today, but let's not make it the end of our love story. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast and think of some women in your life you'd love to share it with. And if you want to learn more about our events and programs, visit wayofthemuse.com. See you next time.